Hello, all you weirdos. Jim here, and welcome to another week of comics, and welcome to another issue of Beast World. And this is the penultimate issue, Titans Beast World number 5. Now, I have enjoyed this event way more than I thought I would. And yes, I do mean the main book, not so much those pesky tie-ins. But for the most part, you can avoid the tie-ins altogether like my family avoids me daily. Now, the main story, though, has been way better than it has any right to be. I mean, the elevator pitch of Beast Boy turning into Starro and then millions of people on Earth turning into furries may sound sexy and all. I mean, it probably is Sus Gabe's wet dream here, but it hardly feels like an event-worthy story. Yet Tom Taylor has done a really good job of setting up some stakes, and really, what Beast World has become is a huge piece of the Amanda Waller puzzle as she continues to get more of her power back and also her groove back, and we see that reach another peak in this issue. Now, speaking of peaks, we also find out who Dr. Hate is in this issue, but don't worry, I'll make sure to give a huge spoiler warning before we get into that. So, let's get into Beast World number 5.
You are all weirdos!
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.
Titans Beast World number 5 is written by Tom Taylor, pencils by Ivan Reis and Eduardo Pensica. I want to say that it's great to have Ivan Reis back on the book. It looks great. It looks bigger. No shade on Lucas Mayer, who had done the last couple issues. I thought his art was good. It's just not Ivan Reis art, but what is? You have inks by Danny Mickey and Julio Ferreira, colors by Brad Anderson and Wes Abbott on letters. And we start with a great scene, a scene that will get you all happy to start your comic book week. It's the dead carcass of Garo in space, right? Oh my goodness, that happened at the end of the last issue where pretty much Beast Boy Garo got killed by the black hole making chunk. And that's that. He is dead. If you thought that he was going to be coming back, you are dead wrong. There, that's kind of a pun, I guess. Not really. Wordplay it was. And the Titans are shocked. They're sad. All the heroes are. Raven, she's pissed. And I want to stop and say, Raven, just don't be that upset. And here's the thing. From the first issue, I ended up saying that I think that Garo, Beast Boy, will end up dying. But don't worry, because in that first issue, when Cyborg ended up boom tubing the Necrostar to the frozen universe that it's now trapped in, it also severed off one of the Starro Garo arm, one of the starfish arms that is now in that frozen universe, pretty much on ice preserved. And I do think and said from the get-go that you were going to have the Titans go and get that tentacle and use it to regenerate Beast Boy. That they will be able to bring Beast Boy back. That's a part of him, but it's also going to use that whole starfish regeneration type deal that is a property of them. So I do think that's going to happen, 100%. And if that does happen, I'm just going to let everybody know. I think if it does happen, when you read it, I want you to think of me, in a normal way, and then say, oh my God, I'm going to go back to the Weird Science Comics YouTube channel and subscribe to their channel because that Jim is so smart. He's like an Einstein, that rocket surgeon. He knows it all. But just as a joke, if that does happen, please come back and subscribe to the channel if you already haven't. Now, if it doesn't happen, just pretend I didn't say any of that, right? Or actually better, come back and subscribe because you feel sorry for me because I'm such a dummy. But 99.999%, I think that's what's going to happen. So we'll talk about that next week. But what happens here is as Raven is pissed, as the Titans are in mourning, we go and the president ends up having a press conference and they're going to proclaim that this is the greatest thing ever, that they should be applauded for taking down this big threat. And I think that most people would agree at this point. I mean, this giant Garo conqueror starfish deal has turned a lot of people, a lot of loved ones, all that into beasts. So they want to be applauded. And the president ends up mentioning the Bureau of Sovereignty, something that I think is a real cool synergy bit with the Tom King Wonder Woman book at this point. I love synergy in the DCU, but then also uses it to introduce Amanda Waller to the nation, to the world, saying that she has been in the shadows. Here she is. And this has been Amanda Waller's play the whole time. She's trying to grab more power. She's taking advantage of all these situations to increase her power. And at this point now, she is so confident in everything that she's doing, that she is stepping out of the shadows, and she is doing it to really point the finger, to put the target on the heroes, to put it on the Titans, that they are the monsters that I always knew they were. If that sounds familiar, it's because that's what the Night Terrors with a K was about. Now, the Night Terrors with a K was more positioned towards the Justice League, but heroes in general didn't really hit. We haven't really seen many repercussions from that. And they are, and I mean DC as they're heading towards these big events that you need that to be the big play. You need everybody in the world to be upset, mad, and scared of the heroes. Night Terrors, one night of a nightmare, people forget that in a second. And it really didn't hit. So this hits more. So I give Tom Taylor a lot of credit that he is giving, Joshua Williamson more of something to play with, even though Joshua Williamson was the one who kind of was the brains, quote unquote, behind that Night Terrors with a K. But this is better. And what she does is lie her ass off. She comes out and says, hey, we should be applauded. We took down this Garo. Oh my God, it was the worst thing. And that's kind of true. But then goes and says, but the real hero here is Chester Chunk. He's real. He ended up sacrificing himself to go out. He didn't come back. Unfortunately, he died in space. But he did it willingly, lie. And he did it knowing what he, the whole play was and that's a lie. Also brings out the idea that this whole Beast World, Beast Boy deal was how Chester Runk's son died. That's a complete lie. We saw that Peacemaker actually killed himself. She is lying so bad, but it's pretty effective. And at this point, I think she should just kind of, count the win. But she goes too far here in my mind, but people seem to not care. Because remember, there's all these beasts. I thought they were going to have the idea that with Beast Boy Garo dead, the spores die. They don't have anything to control it, anything to make them go forward. But we're going to have this thing where they're going to keep going. They're still the beasts. But the beasts are people's, neighbors, relatives, loved ones. And Amanda Waller says, and as for all the millions of people still infected, yeah, we're going to drone attack them and kill them all, but you should applaud us for that as well. And then kind of twist it in that's their sacrifice. That's them being heroes. I would go more of, and you're already lying, I would say, hey, we studied the deal and there's no way to save them, number one. And also, it's a horrific life that they're leading as these beasts. They have lost their minds. They're suffering. Let's put them out of their misery. She just ends up kind of saying they're collateral damage that have to be taken care of. They kind of people like, really? You're going to do that? Like, they're loving. No. It's their sacrifice as well. So they're the heroes, just like Chester Runk. And I thought you could have spun that a little bit different. But she does say there's going to be drone attacks. Everybody anywhere near these beasts, get the hell out of town. Get away from them, stay inside because they are going to be targeted. They are going to be brought down. Now we go to the Titans, who you still have Raven, really upset. But the Titans have to kind of push that aside. They have to get on the ball here and do something. And Cyborg says, I can kind of commandeer these drones. I could shut them down. Should I do it? And they start to go back and forth. I'm thinking right away, yes, that's what you should do. And what they end up deciding is, oh no, because the government would be mad and the people of the world will think we're bad. They already do. They already do. In the meantime, if you do shut down these drones and then you can be the one who saves these beasts, then it's kind of no fuss, no muss. Now you're heroes again. But they're kind of hemming and hawing. They're kind of like, well, we can't really do that. That's like a last second deal. That's like plan Z. Plan A here, though, will be that Nightwing wants to know where this Bureau of Sovereignty, where are they located? I'm going to go have a talk with Amanda Waller. In the meantime, Donna Troy goes and has a talk with Raven. Raven is upset and says, I have the power to just destroy Amanda Waller right now. And she takes her chakra that has the inner demon of herself, the soul self, the bad stuff, and says, I could just tell her right now in the gem to go and just destroy Amanda Waller. And she would, and it's kind of not me doing it. It's kind of like a way that I can push that aside and, hey, it wasn't really me. But Donna Troy knows better, says, you would never do that. What what would Beast Boy do? What would he want? And it's a really good scene. It's actually a touching scene where Raven says, I was in Beast Boy's mind, not when he died. She's saying when he decided to become Starro, he ended up thinking that this might lead to him never coming back. And he wasn't afraid to die. He was just afraid that everybody who loved him would be upset. And of course, Raven would be. And she ends up saying that Beast Boy would not want to do that. The chakra back on the forehead, and we'll figure this out another way. Now, the drone attacks are on. Time is of the essence, and they do end up boom tubing off to the Bureau of Sovereignty. Flash is there while he takes care of the guards. And when Nightwing's going to go in, it's Nightwing, Raven, and Wally. Wally takes care of the guards. He's going to do all that. And then Raven and Nightwing are there. Nightwing wants to go in and talk to Amanda Waller. And I don't think that's going to work, but begs Raven, please don't do anything bad. Raven says, I won't, but it's going to be hard, but I'm going to be in your mind the whole time. I'll make sure that I don't get too crazed up. So you go in, and it's pretty funny when you have Amanda Waller talking some crap. The president ends up calling Amanda Waller and says, listen, I didn't know anything about these drone attacks. This is awful. I'm going to be blamed for millions of people, loved ones, all that being killed. Amanda Waller tries to convince the president, no. It'll be fine. They'll love you. They'll think that you're the greatest of all time. Nightwing then comes in. It's funny when Peacemaker ends up seeing him. And Nightwing says, I just want to talk. Well, Amanda Waller doesn't want to talk. Peacemaker doesn't want to talk. And the fight's on. They have a big fight. And you have a nice fight and a cool-looking fight between Peacemaker and Nightwing. And it's funny because Nightwing says, you never wear a mask. Is it because you're so pretty? Well, yeah, that's what I think it is. But then Nightwing turns it around and says, well, you wear a helmet. And I could do this, and ends up grabbing the helmet and spins it around. At first, I thought he snapped his neck. I was like, holy crap. But it just ended up there. He's blinded by his own mask. Nightwing then gets to drop kick him and takes him down. And then just says to Amanda Waller, like, you can't do this. Call off this strike. And she says, no, I'm not going to call it off. And they are going to be destroyed. All these people will die. And you guys are going to be blamed for it. She's not backing down. And that's where Nightwing says to Cyborg, do it, shut down these drones. And he does. He takes control of the drones and stops this huge attack. I will give Nightwing credit here. It actually does seem to shock Amanda Waller that they did that. You rarely see her being shocked like that, but she is now going to twist it like they were afraid of. Oh my God, you just took control of these government drones. That is stepping over the line. You are going to be done. That is it. And Amanda Waller starts gloating and says, the Titans just hacked the military. You think the people will accept that? If I'd known how recklessly stupid you'd act in response, I would have killed Garfield Logan years ago. And that's where Raven just blasts. She comes out of the shadows and blasts Amanda Waller and looks like she is going to kill Amanda Waller. This would be something that would change Raven forever. It's crazy, but the setup has been there. I mean, Gar got killed, and now Amanda Waller is gloating about it. So, like we saw with Donna Troy earlier, you end up having Raven take the chakra off and saying, that's it. I'm letting loose. I'm letting the inner demons, my bad soul self, it's going to come out and destroy you. And Amanda Waller kind of is laughing and says, oh, yeah, really? You want to do that? Check that gem out, won't you? And that's where I'm going to stop a second. And I'll give you my score. I'll go, and then afterwards, and I'll even play the outro music, and then afterwards, we will talk about the spoiler. It's a big spoiler, so I don't want to end up upsetting anybody. And then even when you read the issue, if you haven't read it yet, you can come back and listen to the end. So with all of that and giving my score, I think it was a really good issue. I had a lot of fun with this issue. I thought that you end up setting a lot of things up that really pay off here and does end up putting the full focus on villain Amanda Waller. The whole idea of furries, Garo, Starro, all that was setting this up. It wasn't really an event-worthy deal. The event-worthy thing is Amanda Waller seizing more power and then really pointing the finger at the Titans and the heroes for being sus, and they're the real villains, and I'm going to get... Because you don't want Amanda Waller with too much power. And this issue, you see, she is already calling shots that the president isn't even privy to. She has gone from, what she was, and she really was like torn down. She ended up at one point even trying to escape Earth and going to Earth 3 because she was a wanted woman. She is back, and it seems like she is back with more power than ever before, and not even in the shadows, straight up right there for everybody to see, and that's crazy. So I really think that it has led to a really cool deal, and this is just the penultimate issue. So we still have one issue to see how crazy she is in that, and then also, like I said, to bring Beast Boy back, as I think, and then you subscribe. But I'm going to go pretty high. I haven't been really big on a lot of the books lately, but I have enjoyed this Beast World. I'm going to go 9 out of 10. Now, some of it also includes the spoiler for what is going on here with Raven. And also, I said it before at the beginning, but the art's great. Ivan Reis being back makes it feel event worthy as well. But this is really big, really cool. But I'm going to play the outro music. So if you don't want the spoiler, I want to thank everybody for listening. Please, if you don't want to wait till next week, and you can count me in, subscribe to the channel now, like it, and let me know what you think of this issue and all of Beast World as well, because I think it's really, really good. And that'll be that. I'll be back in a minute with the spoiler.
You are all weirdos.
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.
All right, so here comes the big spoiler. You end up having Raven really pissed off. I mean, she has lost her mind, and she is going to unleash the inner demon, bad soul self stuff of the chakra gem. And Emmanuel's like, really? Like, check out that gem. Tell me what you see. And you have Raven look at it. It's empty. It's empty because it's already out. It's Dr. Hate. Dr. Hate is the bad part of Raven. Ends up taking off its helmet, and they're staring at each other. It's the evil Raven in the helmet with the Dr. Hate stuff. And this is a pretty cool play because in the Titans book earlier, when that started out, you ended up having Raven find out there's something missing. There's something missing inside you. There's something not there. And that is a good play of a setup, months ago to go here to find out it was that whole the bad self, the bad gal in the chakra demon that's now Dr. Hate. So that actually even increased my score. I thought it was going to end up being, it's like the Earth 58's version of the Joker, who also is the Flash, that's also the Riddler. Like something stupid like that. Or even just, it's Earth 63's Dr. Fate. Like, really? Now, I'm not going to say that we could kind of play along because this is so out of left field, but that's cool because I said I don't think a lot of people were guessing at who Dr. Hate was. But when we see it, I'm like, oh, man, that works for me. That is really cool. And that's something crazy because people do love Raven. And now you have Amanda Waller with a Dr. Hate bad self Raven who might be able to start doing some weird things as well to, hey, look at me, world. I'm Raven. And then do bad things and people will think it's her. I don't know if we're going to go that far. I don't even think we have to because of how bad it looks for the Titans and the heroes in general. But again, that's part of my score of the whole 9 out of 10. So again, let me know what you think. Let me know all of that and see, now we're here. Don't spoil the whole thing with Raven in the comments either. Maybe, give it a little bit, come back or whatnot. I don't want people to get, spoiled and things like that. But we could say like, hey, what was pretty cool. Right, I should have come up with like a catchphrase with the deal. It's like Dr. Hate is what? That's pretty neat. So let me know what you think, but that is it. This has gone on pretty long. I did this kind of loosey-goosey, so let me know what you think of that as well. But I'm going to go. Thanks, everybody, and I will talk to you later.